Hello, this is C. Marshall, and this is my review of Parallax. Parallax is the confident debut from Toasty Games, and the newest entry in the hallowed halls of the first-person puzzle genre, trying to stand amongst the ranks of young classics like Portal and Antechamber, with its eye-catching looks and trippy gameplay. The game has really slipped under the radar. It doesn't help how ungoogleable its name is, it's just gotten very little coverage for how fascinating it's turned out. It's a wonderfully designed puzzle game, despite its occasional shortcomings. Upon opening the game, you'll be greeted by a seemingly amateurish menu with big fat buttons and cumbersome organization, but once you start the game, you'll realize it is anything but. The gameplay is centered around switching shared dimensions to reach a pad. This pad is marked at the beginning of each level, so you constantly know where you're headed, even though getting there can fuck with your head. Parallax requires significantly less player involvement than something like Portal, and like Antechamber, you can beat a lot of the puzzles without really understanding how. Like a rat chasing cheese, you get there eventually, but Lord knows how you did it. This can lead to an almost drunken feeling, reaching the completion pad and only half knowing the actual solution. At the end of each level, you are rated on your actions and your time of completion, with only a completed or perfect ranking. There is not a star ranking or anything like that. You can see the required number of actions for this perfect ranking at any time, which actually gives you a bit more guidance, knowing if it's going to require a ton of button presses or very few. The problem with this rating system is that it only awards memorization, not creativity. It's a pretty boring method to coax replayability. The singularity of each level's solution also affects this replayability, but it comes with the territory of a game like this. But the game is seriously very fun. Well, more gratifying than fun, because every level requires you to become familiar with their isolated designs. You can carry knowledge with you from past triumphs in the game, but every level asks for an open mind because new mechanics are constantly assaulting you. You will need to alter interdimensional platform orientation, acclimate to shifting gravity, swallow your pride when you realize you've been doing it all wrong the entire time. And you have to applaud the developers for their trust in the players. The game makes you teach yourself, but the difficulty escalates so elegantly that it never feels crushing. The only real momentum killer is from opening up a new level and just having to take a deep breath as you're greeted by some new insurmountably complex puzzle. It sounds silly, but because of how intricate and isolated each level's solution is, the game gets tiring as you start from scratch every 5 minutes or so. This is a problem with most puzzle games, though. Here it's exaggerated, though, because of Parallax's aforementioned complexity in both visuals and gameplay. Speaking of visuals, the game has style. Its design is a mixture of both Joseph Eichler's clean simplicity and Dyson's dedication to utilitarian construction. Every level's guts are in full display, with connections and wires and shit all having obvious looks. They avoid realism to give consistently relevant information, like button signals driving along wires giving you a visual representation of the time until it reaches its goal. It's put together wonderfully, making puzzle solving as uninhibited as possible. Something worth noting also is that you can change the color scheme if you get tired of the standard black and white. I generally stuck with black and white though, as the contrast helps the puzzle elements stay defined from each other. There are 32 levels to be conquered in the game, with new mechanics being introduced at a breakneck speed. They all work incredibly well together and complement each other in challenging ways. The only irritating challenge makers are the lasers, which can feel cheap and introduce an unnecessarily tedious mechanic. When they block certain sections statically, they are understandable. They just function as a wall that can bring about a fail state. But when they spin slowly on a narrow walkway, it provides nothing but momentum-breaking annoyance. They could have easily just been spinning walls or glass, but the fact that they have strangely large hitboxes is a silly choice. But the thing is, because of how relaxed the game is, you really never get frustrated beyond shaking your head and cursing your lack of patience. The game is a resounding success from Toasty Games, an intelligently crafted piece that feels cozy but stimulating, kind of like your morning coffee. And the fact that it's only $10 makes it impossible not to recommend. It doesn't have much replayability, but going through it the first time is a wonderful experience. If you like solving puzzles and trippy design philosophies, look no further for your newest fix. Thank you so much for watching.